Hello, my name is Ripley. Welcome to the video.
What's up, schmucks? I hope your 2022 is off to a beautiful start. Before we get started today, I want to quickly let you know about a teensy little thing called the G Words Podcast. The G Words Podcast is the lovely little podcast that I do with my good pal Spudgers. It's like the Euphoria of podcasts, basically. It's aimless, it's about nothing, it has a lot of unnecessary swearing, and a lot of sex between the main characters. So go see the links below and check it out. Maybe you'll really like it. Okay, let's get on with the first video of 2022. Euphoria is a young adult drama on HBO Max and is set to return for its second season, either today or tomorrow, or maybe it already started. I don't really know when this video is going to release, but regardless, Euphoria is coming back and I want to talk about this show. This video is going to contain spoilers for season 1 of Euphoria, but not season 2, because at the time of recording, it's not out yet. But we will probably review season 2 once all of it has been released, but for now, let me tell you about Euphoria and why it's not very good. So Euphoria is another young adult drama about sexy teens doing sexy things, much like your Riverdales, your Chilling Adventures of Sabrina's, and all the other CW stuff that keeps getting pumped out left and right. However, Euphoria is allegedly different, or so I'm told. Now, I mentioned Euphoria being good way back in my big return to YouTube video, but I gotta admit, I hadn't seen it. I know, I'm sorry, I lied, I'm sorry, but I had never seen it, and all I had heard is that it was incredible. It was this great thing, and I think the context was that I needed to bring up another young adult show that was good to rival 13 Reasons Why, and so I just took a gamble and said, yeah, I've seen Euphoria, it's good. Well, I lied, I hadn't seen it, and I also lied about it being good. But for years now, I have heard nothing but praise for this show, saying it's deep, mature, beautiful, and something special amongst the other shows and movies in this genre. Well, I'm here to tell you today that the hype is wrong. This show sucks, man. And I think the thing that I hated the most about this show is that everybody else loves it. Wait. Let me explain. Let me explain. Stop it. Put the gun down, man. Stop it. Like I said, everybody has told me that this show is something special and that it is different. So, because of everything I've been told, I went into this show expecting that. But all I got was R-rated Riverdale, and that's not interesting. This show has nothing engaging or fresh or provocative to present, and it just feels like more from a genre that already offers so little. Euphoria's biggest issue really is a massive identity crisis. This show tries presenting itself as real, gritty, and mature, and it does this by constantly trying to weigh in on hot button issues and providing commentary on the real world. Not to mention, this show takes itself annoyingly seriously. But this doesn't mesh well with its cartoon characters and bizarre number of cliches and tropes. 1 minute, Zendaya's giving a big speech about why Gen Z is built different and they're the future and sexting is the new hip thing. And the next minute, a teenager is committing schemes that would make the Joker blush. Like, what the hell is going on? And I could probably excuse some of that. But then we run into Euphoria's next biggest problem. It's boring. This is just standard young adult stuff with hot sexy teens doing hot sexy stuff, and their parents are awful and they don't understand them, and they're all falling in love with each other and fucking each other and everything else in sight. That's not an exaggeration. There is a scene on a carousel which I think mentally scarred me for life, and they're all doing so many drugs and this and that, but that's it. That's the extent of it. That's everything this show offers you. And yeah, you could make the argument that, well, that's no different than the rest, and you're right, but the problem is that it's not presented in an engaging or riveting way, and it makes each hour-long episode feel like twice that. If this show was just bog standard stuff, that would be fine. But the problem is that this show takes itself so seriously and thinks it's this high-end art piece, and it's not. It's just like everything else. None of the stories in Euphoria are interesting or compelling. I don't care about Rue being sad, but also being in love, but also suicidal, but also not. She's not interesting. I don't care about Kat encouraging child pornography. Yeah, we're gonna come back to that. I don't care about Nate being a comic book villain for no reason. I don't care about any of this. I should, because it's what the show's about, but I don't. Because even if these plot lines were interesting, even if they held a merit or value, the characters that these plots are about, they're just not interesting. Each episode opens with a really long narration segment detailing a particular character. Not only does each segment rely far too much on telling rather than showing, but each episode provides minimal insight and detail about the character that it's about. For example, in episode 3, we get a really long intro to Kat that's meant to flesh her out as a character, and it's so long, but the only new or important information we learn about her is that she has body image issues and has a significant social media following. That is it. Through this whole segment, that is the only new and important information that we learn. And that's fine, I guess, but this could have been done better. This could have been done through dialogue or actually spending time with the character that it's about. But the show takes the lazy way out by having it done through an exposition dump in the beginning of the episode. And this happens with almost every episode. Also, each narration is done by Rue, and it begs the question why. I don't have a problem with an all-knowing narrator, but why don't we hear this from the character that it's actually about? Why don't they find a way to work it into the context, into the show? Create a fun framing device. Maybe one of them writes a journal, and so they have a moment where they sit back and read through their journal, and we see the life story play out as they read their journal. Maybe another one goes on a date, and the date asks them, hey, what's your story? And that's how we get it. Apply a little bit of effort, you know? Put in a bit of work. If you want this show to be taken seriously and to be the high-end form of media that you think it is, do something interesting. Do something new, creative, fresh. Actually try something. And again, all the important information that is given to us in these opening segments could be done better through dialogue or scenes with the characters themselves. But the show is lazy, and it would much rather just have it be done through exposition. And I don't like that. Speaking of characters, I mentioned that these characters aren't interesting, but they're also really basic. They all feel like stereotypes and caricatures, or they just kind of suck. So let's run through a couple of them. Cassie is a basic hot girl with an older boyfriend, and their relationship is very rocky. Maddie is a basic hot girl with an abusive boyfriend who she can't help but love. Rue is a really standard angsty protagonist with a traumatic past that she can't escape. And then we get Nate, the villain of the show. And I don't say antagonist, I say villain, because this guy is straight out of a comic book. Look, I'm not saying people like Nate don't exist. The controlling, manipulative, abusive boyfriend. Yeah, no duh, that exists. But Nate is cartoonishly evil, and like all these other cookie cutter and cartoonish characters, it doesn't vibe very well with the show that wants to be grounded and gritty and mature and the realest thing you've ever seen. The show wants Nate to have the depth, complexity, and nuance of Homelander, but he has about as much intrigue as Malekith from Thor: The Dark World. This dude is literally cooking up schemes the Joker would be impressed by. This dude is insane, but he's not insane to a degree where you fear him or you're intimidated by him. He's just insane to an extent of no 17-year-old could effectively pull this off and do it like this, and it just feels so fake, and it doesn't work, because again, this show wants to be taken seriously, and it wants to speak on real-world issues and tell a grounded and gritty story, but it can't do that when one of its central characters is a mustache-twirling Marvel villain. Now, the real nail in the coffin for me with this show is something I don't think a lot of people are really giving attention to, something everyone just seems to be okay with, and it's the way Euphoria handles over-sexualizing underage characters. And I know these actors are all probably in their 20s, but these characters are teenagers, and it's constantly mentioned how young they all are. And the show practically encourages child pornography, which we're about to get to. But why are writers and creators so obsessed with and compelled to tell these hypersexual stories with underage characters? A show like this doesn't even need to be centered around high school kids. This show could just as easily be about college students, adult college students. But no, the creators want to see kids have sex with each other. Oh my god, that's kind of weird, isn't it? But the thing that really gets me though is how unnecessary it is. You can tell a really compelling and high quality coming of age story about high schoolers without over-sexualizing the characters who are minors. Let me give you a couple examples. Booksmart, The Edge of 17, Lady Bird, I Am Not Okay With This, The End of the Fucking World, Stranger Things, The Spectacular Now, and Spider-Man Homecoming. That's just to name a few. Now, I keep alluding to how Euphoria promotes and condones child pornography, so I guess we should talk about that. But before that, and I didn't know where to stick this, so I guess here is fine, but this show features a handful of distinct moments where underage girls have sex with middle-aged men, and the show just doesn't bat an eye about that. It seems to actually encourage and be okay with it. Yeah, that's what we're working with here. But anyway, so this revolves around the character Kat. Kat, a 17-year-old girl, becomes a cam girl and partakes in engaging in sexual relations with grown adult men. Now, this is a really stupid thing to have in your show in the first place. It's kind of just here for the sake of it, but Euphoria could have had someone find out and be like,
hey yo Kat, you're a minor. You shouldn't be doing this. What are you doing? Stop!
But no, that's not what happens. Kat is written in a way in which she is celebrated for this. There are no consequences or repercussions for her actions. She's just a girl boss for doing this. And I get that the point is that she wants power over men and she wants to feel like a real bad girl and what have you. But what is that? Why? I don't have words for this. Were there not less weird ways to prove that narrative point? You could have, 1, not included it at all. That's the best option. Or 2, you could have just done this in a way that's not disgusting. I know this is a weird thing to harp on about, but honestly, it just makes me really uncomfortable in shows when underage characters get it on and it's filmed and treated like a sexy thing. Because the actors might be adults, but they're playing teenagers, man. Teenagers. I don't know, man. It doesn't vibe with me. It makes me feel gross. But to wrap it all up, Euphoria is really bad. It's hailed as this deep, provocative, insightful masterpiece, when in reality, it's just another young adult drama, but it's not even a good one. The characters within this show are extremely basic and written in laughably cartoonish ways, especially Nate. Plus, the stories and plots that these characters are involved in are not compelling or engaging in the slightest, and it left me extraordinarily bored throughout. Not to mention the way this show handles the unnecessary hypersexualization of underage characters made me feel really uncomfortable and left me asking why the fuck they felt compelled to do that. I'd tell you not to watch this show, but it's a little late for that since season 2 is about to be out or it's already out. Again, I don't know when this video is going out, but regardless, thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you too are against over-sexualizing underage characters in media, and subscribe if you think the world is gross and bad and run by evil capitalists who molest children. Ridley and I have a lot planned for 2022, so we hope that you can stick around and experience it with us. Thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.
This concludes the video.